Breaking developments are shaking the Middle East tonight. A storm is brewing, one with the potential to alter the very fabric of geopolitical stability in the region. Iran is now officially on high alert after a high-level confirmation from Russian intelligence reportedly warned of an incoming Israeli military strike. But that's not all. Neighboring Arab states have been placed on emergency footing, issuing strong warnings amid fear of spillover. Tonight, the region watches, uneasy, uncertain, and standing at the edge of something far greater than a border skirmish. This is not speculation. This is the unfolding of a real-time crisis that could escalate into a regional war with global consequences. Segment 1. Russia confirms the imminent strike. Sources close to the Russian Ministry of Defense have confirmed a credible Israeli military operation targeting strategic facilities inside Iran. Moscow's intelligence reportedly intercepted operational signals indicating an Israeli strike package is prepared to neutralize Iranian weapons sites, possibly those involved in drone and missile technologies. Russia's sudden involvement might surprise many, but their motive is clear: to avoid regional destabilization that could backfire on their own economic and security interests. And yet, despite this confirmation, Israel has not issued any public denial, only reinforcing suspicions. What's most chilling is the timeline. According to leaked chatter, the operation could begin within the next 48 to 72 hours. The countdown is ticking, and Iran knows it. Segment 20 Arab states sound the alarm. Multiple Arab countries, including the UAE, Saudi Arabia, and Jordan, have now issued military advisories and activated regional alert systems. Intelligence sharing is at an all-time high, with fears that Israeli air corridors could pass near or even over their territories, making them inadvertent participants in this crisis. Jordan's foreign ministry released a stern statement urging restraint on all sides, warning that the region is on the edge of ignition. This comes just days after Iranian-backed militias were reportedly caught mobilizing in southern Syria and parts of Iraq, regions that border key Arab allies. And yet, in the midst of this storm, one surprising voice of hope has emerged. Go Nels GMT secret diplomacy in the U.S. Quiet push for peace. While threats rise and rockets are rumored to be ready, a quiet effort is happening behind the scenes. U.S. diplomats have been in urgent back-channel talks with both Tel Aviv and Tehran, urging both sides to step back from the brink. Secretary of State Antony Blinken held undisclosed meetings in Europe this past weekend, and sources now reveal that an American proposal for temporary de-escalation was tabled. This plan includes a moratorium on Israeli strikes in exchange for a verified pause in Iranian drone exports to regional proxies. It's thin ice, but it's something. The world needs it. Segment 3. What's really at stake? Iran's new missile system under scrutiny. Here's where things get even more dangerous. Israel's urgency seems to stem from Iran's recent unveiling of a new long-range ballistic missile system, reportedly capable of reaching Tel Aviv, Haifa, and even parts of southern Europe. This missile, possibly the Kiabar Shikan class, is said to have hypersonic capability and improved evasion tech, making it difficult to intercept. Western analysts believe Iran is transferring some of this technology to its proxies, particularly Hezbollah in Lebanon. For Israel, this could be a red line crossed. The logic is simple but deadly: strike before it's too late. Proxy flashpoints in Lebanon and Syria. One of the most alarming parts of this looming conflict is the ignition of proxy flashpoints. In Lebanon, Hezbollah units are on the move near the southern border. In Syria, Iranian Revolutionary Guard Corps assets have reportedly shifted locations, likely anticipating Israeli airstrikes. This is a wider battlefield than most people realize, and if Iran is hit directly, proxy retaliation is almost guaranteed. That would drag Arab states, the U.S., and even Russia deeper into this volatile mix. Samlas-Lynt Greitat Kai Po Ant-20 U.S. Military bases go on high alert. As all of this unfolds, we've learned tonight that U.S. forces stationed in Iraq, Syria, and the Persian Gulf have moved to heightened readiness. Defensive systems have been calibrated, and assets repositioned in anticipation of possible Iranian retaliation, not just against Israel, but American interests as well. The Pentagon is watching closely and quietly preparing. Warships in the Gulf are now closer to Iran than they've been in months. The stakes have never been higher. The role of cyber warfare in the Iran-Israel conflict in the shadows of missiles and military maneuvers. Another war is already underway, one without borders, without uniforms, and without the sound of gunfire. It is the digital battlefield of cyber warfare, and it has become one of the most dangerous fronts in the escalating tensions between Iran and Israel. While the world watches for airstrikes and missile launches, a silent conflict rages in the background, targeting infrastructure, energy systems, military secrets, and the very technological backbone of each nation. Israel and Iran have long been engaged in cyber confrontations, but in recent months, the attacks have become more frequent, more aggressive, and more destructive. Israeli cybersecurity experts have reported a spike in attempted intrusions targeting power grids, missile defense networks, and even financial institutions. These attacks are believed to originate from Iranian-linked hacker groups such as APT-35, also known as Charming Kitten, which has a history of cyber espionage, data theft, and disinformation campaigns. These groups, likely working under the guidance of the Islamic Revolutionary Guard Corps, IRGC, are believed to be executing highly coordinated digital operations aimed at weakening Israel's security posture from the inside. On the other side, Israel's elite cyber unit, Unit A200, has been accused of launching its own preemptive cyber strikes on Iran's nuclear infrastructure and military databases. In fact, one of the most well-known cyber incidents in modern history, the Stuxnet worm discovered in 2010, is widely believed to have been developed by Israel and the United States to sabotage Iran's nuclear centrifuges. Since then, Israel has continued to use advanced cyber tools to delay, disrupt, and damage Iran's technological and military advancement. Recently, Iranian authorities accused Israel of a major cyber attack that temporarily crippled the Reshape port terminal, causing chaos in the transport and shipping systems. The breach was seen as a calculated retaliation for Iranian-linked attacks on Israeli water treatment plants, which threatened the country's clean water supply. These tit-for-tat exchanges show that cyber warfare is no longer a supporting tactic, it has become central to national security. But perhaps the most chilling aspect of this cyber war is its potential to spiral into a global digital conflict, with AI-powered malware, ransomware, and deep fake technologies now being integrated into offensive capabilities. The battlefield is evolving faster than laws and international agreements can keep up. Civilian sectors such as hospitals, banks, and communication networks are increasingly vulnerable, turning everyday people into unintended victims of state-level cyber aggression. Moreover, the involvement of third-party cyber actors, freelancers, mercenaries, and rogue hackers makes the threat landscape even more unpredictable. These actors can operate without official allegiance but cause real damage, blurring the lines between government-sanctioned operations and criminal cyber terrorism. This growing reliance on digital warfare is not just a threat to Iran and Israel, it's a warning to the world. If this cyber conflict continues to escalate unchecked, it could serve as a blueprint for future wars where missiles are replaced by malware and battles are fought through satellites, servers, and screens. The Iran-Israel cyber war may well be the first chapter in a new kind of global conflict, a digital world war that has already begun, silently and invisibly, but with devastating consequences waiting just behind the code. China's silent stake in the conflict, in the unfolding geopolitical drama between Iran and Israel. One global superpower has remained largely silent, but make no mistake, its stake in this conflict is massive. China, with its deep economic ties and strategic partnerships in the Middle East, especially with Iran, stands as a quiet yet influential player whose next moves could reshape not just the regional balance, but potentially tilt the global order. While the US, Russia, and regional Arab powers dominate headlines, Beijing operates in the background with calculated caution, economic leverage, and long-term vision. At the heart of China's interest in Iran lies a simple yet powerful factor: energy. Iran, rich in oil and gas reserves, has been a crucial source of crude for China, one of the world's largest energy consumers. Even under strict US sanctions, China has continued to import millions of barrels of Iranian oil annually, often through indirect channels or shadow tankers. These shipments fuel Chinese industries, power its massive manufacturing base, and help ensure Beijing's energy security at a time when global oil markets are more volatile than ever. But China's involvement with Iran goes far into 2001. The two countries signed a sweeping 25-year strategic cooperation agreement worth an estimated $400 billion. This deal includes massive Chinese investments in Iran's energy, transportation, banking, and telecommunications infrastructure. Chinese firms have been involved in railway construction, port developments, and even the expansion of 5G networks in Iranian cities. Iran, in turn, sees China as a lifeline, an economic partner that can help it weather sanctions, modernize its industries, and maintain relevance in global markets. This relationship isn't just business, it's strategic survival for terror. Now, with the specter of a possible Israeli military strike against Iran and growing regional instability, China finds itself in a sensitive position. On one hand, Beijing has long advocated for non-interference in diplomacy, emphasizing peaceful coexistence and multilateralism. On the other, it cannot afford to let its investments and energy lifelines be jeopardized by a full-scale conflict in the Middle East. Any war that damages Iran's oil production or infrastructure would disrupt Chinese supply chains, increase global oil prices, and threaten China's Belt and Road Initiative projects that pass through the region. China's diplomatic posture is, therefore, one of subtle pressure and behind-the-scenes maneuvering, unlike the US, which makes bold public declarations, or Russia, which inserts itself militarily. China prefers quiet diplomacy, engaging through trade influence and leverage. Chinese officials have reportedly urged both Iran and Israel to de-escalate tensions, while also coordinating with Gulf Arab states to ensure regional stability. Beijing's growing relationship with Saudi Arabia, the UAE, and Egypt reflects its broader goal, becoming the region's top economic partner without getting entangled in its wars. Yet the question looms, could China go further? Could it use its military partnerships, arms sales, or even political clout in the UN to influence the outcome? So far, China has avoided military involvement, but its recent joint naval exercises with Iran and Russia in the Gulf of Oman show a willingness to flex military cooperation when necessary. While a direct military alliance with Iran remains unlikely, Beijing could choose to increase arms sales, enhance cyber cooperation, or use its veto power in the United Nations Security Council to block any resolutions against Tehran. In the shadows of this crisis, China is playing the long game. Not through confrontation, but through calculation. If the world is distracted by war, China is focused on the map, its trade routes, oil corridors, and global influence. And while it may not launch missiles or hold emergency summits, the decisions made in Beijing could prove just as decisive as those made in Washington, Moscow, or Tel Aviv. Tonight, Iran sits in the eye of the storm. Russia has confirmed it. Arab states are bracing for it. Israel is preparing to unleash it. And the world is watching, holding its breath. But within this chaos, there is still hope. Diplomacy is not dead. Dialogue is still alive. And the window for peace, however small, remains open. But one thing is certain: what happens in the next few days may reshape the Middle East for decades to come. We are watching history unfold, and the world must not look away. Whether it ends in fire or in words, the decision lies with those holding the launch codes and those willing to stop them. Stay with us as we follow this story, because this isn't just news. This is the future unfolding, minute by minute.